Clear as mud, huh?
My daughter, son-in-law, my grandson, my nephew,
So what I need
my
to
son.
do is
Well,
start
yeah.
video, I guess.
yeah. Need a bigger house.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just checking to make sure you can hear me okay.
Yep, it's just, there's a lot of background noise, so I just stopped the audio for the meeting until we're ready to start.
Perfect. See you then.
We'll be with you in just a minute. We're still trying to get everything. All right, we're up.
Okay, so if we're ready, we're 9:02. You guys like?
But we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. We're up now. We're up now. Are you on here? Testing, testing.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Now we can't.
Tom, are you able to hear me now?
I just can't hear anybody else.
Okay. I Okay, the speakerphone isn't working, so we're going to use the computer. There hopefully won't be echo. And if you really have trouble hearing, please let us know.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ed.
So we're, sorry, I was responding to trying to get a little, but we may all hear them.
You have to speak up. We're using my computer for the audio.
Okay. Okay, so we have a quorum. I'm gonna go through the agenda real quick. Part of my president's message on every meeting is I'll go through our three main goals this year. I know, that I make sure that remind everybody every month, and you will hear this from me every single month until the annual meeting, that these are the goals that we'll be, working for and achieving this year. Goal one, presentation and member approval of a reasonable and responsible increase in our dues assessment. The creation and presentation of the membership and approval of a reasonable and responsible road assessment, either 5 or maybe a 10-year assessment, separate, simple. Creation and member approval of a marina rights agreement with Florence Stills for the preservation of the marina. We do not want to purchase the marina, we want to preserve the marina through an agreement as Lauren sells that piece of property. And we've added in our fourth goal for the year, which is evidently important, and that's the update to our CCRs. They have not been updated since 1998, and they keep coming up so often that we can't ignore them any longer. So Joe Parrott, under the boundaries and land use, as a subcommittee member and chairman of that endeavor, he's taken on that responsibility. So he will be reaching out over the coming months and updating those CCRs. Once they've done so, the committee, they will be committed to the board for a review. We'll review these back and forth. It'll be a living document until the board approves it, and then it'll be ready for submission to the membership for approval. So that'll be our fourth goal for this year. Okay, so this is the sad piece. As we all know, we have a loss of a very close friend at Three Rivers at Patton a week ago from Friday, 17th, maybe 16th. But in either case, out of respect, Michelle's world is upside down right now, and I can only imagine what she's going through. So our hearts and prayers, we all are very, very, very respectful of that. So I just want to make mention of that. And Mary, thanks very much for filling in. If there's any kind of silver lining to any tragic event, it's us being prepared to step in and support someone and keep it. Okay. Public testimony for those that have would like to speak. Looking at the gallery here, there's a sign up over here. If you'd like, please go ahead and do so. And turn it in. Okay. And if there's anybody on Zoom, please raise your hand. Take while we give everybody 5 minutes. I have an 8 timer here. I hope I never have to use it, but you know it's available. So we front load that up front, so we'll, any issues that you have, we can address right out of the gate, and so you have the floor if you would like at this particular time.
And I volunteered watch through the last holiday, and I just had a comment to bring to the board. I volunteered at the gate to help people come through the gate faster. And I was there with Steve and my daughter, and we just worked a 2-hour shift. But I want everybody to know, and I was really surprised, how many people came through the gate with 3R stickers on their vehicle and were guests. They had guest QR codes and 3R stickers. And I can remember years past, for anybody who hasn't been here that long, that 3R stickers were reserved for owners only. And it was kind of a prestigious thing to have on your vehicle was that cool 3R sticker. Because when you're driving around in the valley, you see somebody with a 3R sticker and go, not yes, having those things. And so I guess I just want to bring to the board's attention, I had at least in a 2-hour period, probably a half a dozen to a dozen people who came through the gate, flashed their QR code at me that had a 3R sticker in the window. I would like to see whoever is in charge of all of this, bring back the hangers that go on the rear view mirrors. Because the little guest pass that you hand out to them and put on the dash, you don't even see it. You don't know who those people are. But when you had the rear view hanger on the rear view mirror, everybody knew when you're driving down the road that that was a guest in Three Rivers. If that guest created a problem, real easy to go to their vehicle, see that they're a guest, and find out who their property owner is that they're here with. That's all I have to say about that, and that was my concern. Good point.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I appreciate you bringing that up. We'll, put that into, you know, for consideration during our board meetings on that.
Actually have that in the works.
I know it's been a moneymaker in the past, you know, so at one point we were looking for any way we can to, and so over the years, it's gotten, I've seen people with stickers in Seattle, I mean, no, I get what you're saying. All right, so, we're gonna move on. Is there any hand raisers on Zoom? Otherwise, appreciate that. We'll move on to the next topic. Our last board meeting was 90 minutes. That's our gold standard for time. So we're gonna do our best to stay on track with that. At this time, we usually go through the board member commitments, their updates, anything that, what we've done as part of our addition to our board meetings is each director will have a commitment between each board meeting from that one to the next one, and it holds ourselves accountable to ourselves and accountable to the rest of the board. I'm going to take the commitments from the last meeting, and I'm just going to ask each one of our board members if there's any additional updates since you sent in your consent agenda. If there's any updates or anything to add, please do it this time, and we'll just take 2 to maybe 3 minutes each, go around. So,
Yeah,
Nice.
I just one quick update. We do have a meeting with Lauren Stills on Monday. Ed, I wasn't gonna be able to be there. It looks like now I'm gonna be able to join you at that meeting. So we have provided him a letter of intent, which is basically a framework for starting discussions around putting a structure together. Yeah, he has not responded. We're meeting with him on Monday. That's new since I sent in my consent agenda. So
Perfect. I'll be there with you at
Yep.
10 o'clock on Monday.
Yep.
Sounds good. Dave, anything to add?
Nope.
And let's see, Tom, if you can hear us okay, anything to add from your consent or anything recent?
Yeah, just a quick one. I'm a little concerned about overdue dues payments. So I'm going to email all the people that have outstanding dues and remind them that they were supposed to be paid in May.
His statement was, he's concerned about overdue dues payments, and he's gonna send an email to individuals that haven't, where they were due in May and that haven't paid.
Okay, that sounds good. Good plan. Okay, so you're gonna do direct email follow-up outside of the process that Fieldstone does, to just that extra effort to reach out to these folks so that they don't become incur fines, fees, and eventual liens. So thanks, Tom. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay. Board Director number 5.
I thought we were doing the, so,
No, we're just going around the horn if there's any updates or anything additional.
well, I have the rules and regs discussion and then my appeal for the violation, so.
Yeah, we'll
Do that later.
yes, we'll have the committee reports. I've got you down for For architecture and then for the gun club, you can give us an update on the gun club now, but there should have been a gun club on the committee reports. I guess.
Yeah.
We'll add that into committee reports, so.
Okay.
So just anything additional in percent, we'll get to the rest.
Yeah, the only thing that wanted to add to that was John wanted to give a shout out to Bob Blevins and Jim Malvar for moving the range gate to the new location.
Okay. Cool. Put that in the shout out section. Under that, any other updates on top of your consent?
Nope.
Okay, I'll put the rest of it under new business as well. Okay. Board director number 6. Mike's not here.
Can I speak for him?
You certainly can.
There is one thing that didn't got it on the consent agenda in the last meeting. It may have been in the notes, but we've been going over the documents for Three Rivers, and one of the documents that came up in our review is the Three Rivers Landowner Association Architectural Committee Resolution 1. And this was last updated August of 2008. And the issue is on number 2C. It says the Three Rivers Landowners Association Rules and Regulations Committee will enforce all Three Rivers Landowners Associations, CCRs, and Architectural Committee Resolution 1. And since the Rules and Regs Committee document already talks about enforcing the CCRs, the question is, why does that need to be listed here? Because it doesn't seem to fit. And the other issue is that we don't really know what the architectural committee, I mean, there's a few things listed here, but our thought is the architectural committee is really the one that should enforce their process. All of our processes come through the violations. So if somebody doesn't submit a violation, we don't know anything about the issue. And so if something were to come up where somebody felt that someone was in violation of an architectural committee rule, then we could certainly pass that on to the architectural committee. But I don't know, since we don't have all the documents and the rules other than this page, and there's not a whole lot that we can do. And it did create a lot of angst with the members as far as not really understanding what it is that they would be expected to do in support of this. So we're just trying to get clarity around our responsibilities. And so our feeling is 2C should actually be removed from this document and let the rules and regulation document support the CCRs.
Discussion, I think it was with the land use. What's really kind of the purpose of the committee, because we just follow Jefferson County's requirements, so it's kind of like double doing it.
Right.
And stuff, so if Jefferson County's gonna approve it, why are we going out and looking at it too? My only thing would be maybe if it's gonna block somebody else's view. You know, that might cause a stir if somebody's trying to build a, you know, 2-story building and block somebody's view of the mountain or something like that. And I don't know if that could be anything to really worry about properties up here.
Yeah, I don't know how that rules and regulations be involved in that kind of issue. So I understand the conflict there. So what do you think of a good resolution is?
In our opinion, that rule or this section 2C just needs to be eliminated. I don't know if anybody has the Word copy of this. I mean, we can recreate it from the PDF if they don't. But, I mean, we can certainly supply it to someone. I don't know, Tammy, if it's you to, update it and reissue it.
Yeah, I would say we did discuss that boundaries and land use yesterday. It was a conversation that came up. So, Joe is, taking on the responsibility for updating our CCRs, and we know that there's gonna be some overlap. Yesterday, we just to give you a quick break. We did talk about a little bit about bylaws and how the CCRs do have an effect on the bylaws, but the bylaws is a document that isn't designed to move much, but the CCRs need a complete revision, but there are items in there that they have a direct relationship and they need to be addressed. And so we don't want to make a lot of changes to the bylaws, but we definitely need to revise the entire CCR document, which Joe is going to do has a nice plan for that. So, and rules and regs may have a relationship there too. All the documents where they do have common thread all need to be updated and saying the same thing.
Right.
If you don't mind, if you could go ahead, Steve, before I
I was just gonna
make
show
the
you that,
recommendation.
that's on my addition. Then you should talk about architectural, we can. move it on.
Oh, for new business?
Yes.
Well, we can, but for this one, I would say, if you don't mind, if you forward that to Joe, so he can, so we officially have, he's gonna be getting input from all the membership at some point either through a survey monkey or so on and so forth. And we'll just pick up with the rest of that, make
What is it you want me to forward him? The Word document or?
just the concern.
Or
of
the concern,
GC.
okay.
Yeah, just forward it to him so that he'll, when he does his thing with the due diligence on that, it'll be a reminder to him to use that for consideration. And you're gonna have another opportunity because he'll be giving all the membership an opportunity to weigh in at some point through a survey. So I'm just saying,
And I'm assuming we're using the CCRs from 2008.
no, we're using the CCRs from 1990. The one from 2008 was never ratified by the board. It was put together. It's an assumption.
It's published.
It's never been approved
Okay.
by the board. We don't have any minutes or anything to show that it's actually presented and approved by the board. So.
If I can be helpful here, Ed,
Go ahead.
the 1998 or the 2008 CCNRs were not ever properly adopted, and that a proper adoption requires an 80% yes vote by the members, not the board. And so that never happened. So the 1998 version are the ones that are in effect right now.
Okay. So, and Joe, I'm assuming that you have the copy that was sent out last year because some of that work was done by a group. And I do have all those documents if you don't, if they'll help you at all.
Yeah, I have the version 8.1 of the proposed revisions. That's the latest version I have that I got from Linda Wheeler.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking from.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Is that something you could forward to Joe, or maybe Joe, do you have that PowerPoint from that workshop that was done?
No.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Thanks.
So I'm sorry to,
Yeah.
but should we actually be removing the 2008 copy of the CCRs from the website if it's not correct and reposting the 1998?
That would be my recommendation, yes. For example, the 2008 version calls for a 9-member board, and that's not accurate.
I would say yes, just because if we reference to that document, it's not a valid document, so, yeah. This is another reason why those CCRs have to be our fourth goal for this year, because they're just
We lost audio.
Okay. Committee reports. Okay, this is kind of the meat of the meeting, our consent agenda, we send that out. And, so what I'd like to do is, I didn't do this, so I wanna apologize. So what I want to do is I'm gonna need a motion from the board, for the motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted, and that includes the consent agendas, the financial, and the minutes from the last meeting. Do that, so. I'll need a motion from the board for that. Now, as presented.
I second it. Tom,
Yes.
Tammy.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye. Yes.
Kyle. Yes.
And I'm a yes.
So at the very beginning of the first workshop, I said, you know, be patient, be forgiving. We're gonna make mistakes. Here's an example. So, all right, so we got that one done. Okay, next up, committee reports. Again, this is the meat of the meeting, our consent agenda. If anybody's interested, they can always go into the website, pull in the specifics if you want to do a deeper dive into topics, what took place at the previous meeting, or what was presented in consent. But the committee reports, this is where you get an opportunity for the chairman and those guests, so they can talk about what's going on out there and keep us informed and so forth. So Jim, if I mispronounce your name, 4K, right? So I'm not calling it 2K. No, I don't know why. It's gone 4K. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do you mind just introducing yourself and, you know, take a few minutes? And
Yes,
and I can yeah.
My name is Jim Forkay. I'm one of your fire board members for Lake County Fire. I was nominated, I missed a meeting in December. I was nominated to become the president. You know how that goes. So I've been the president of the fire board now since December. I think one of the first things I want to say is thank you for the overwhelming support for our operational levy, the local option levy. It's not lost on the fire board. I think you've seen some changes in how we're doing business, but it's not lost on the fire board. This is a community that is one of our biggest supporters of community base in the entire fire district. For those that voted for the levy, we really appreciate the support. For those that did not support the levy, I hope we have an opportunity to have further conversations about maybe why that occurred and what we can do to win the remainder of the support of the folks out there that may have some concerns. But thank you very much for the levy and helping us out with that. Just a couple of things that we're working on. I had an opportunity to work with Steve Brenya and Randy Panic, Joe Parrott on a couple of different things. In the next couple of weeks, the Cloverdale water tenders that have been sitting at the gate, one of my priorities has been to get the fire station, the grounds cleaned up, and getting those out of here was one of the priorities. We've actually been able to sell those. They should be getting hauled out sometime within the next week or 2 weeks. We've heard that the check is in the mail. When we get the check for that, we'll arrange for the pickup of that. And then there's some additional trailers and pumps or whatnot up there. I'll coordinate moving those with Steve to get those over to the fire district, property closer to the fire station over there. With that comes a conversation that I'm working with, the aforementioned folks on for a lot line adjustment. I think you guys have been trying to do something different with that garbage area and the dumpsters for quite some time. And we're working with, the fire district attorney to try and get a policy updated that gives us the ability to surplus the property, do a lot line adjustment there, or whatever it takes to bump that back, so you guys can actually do some improvements, with the dumpster and the recycle area up front. So more to come on that. The process is moving a little bit slow. We're at the mercy of our attorney. He's a busy guy. He takes pretty good care of the fire district, though. I don't think we've received a bill from him ever for the work that he's done. So it's a pretty good relationship for us to keep. Probably the bigger news, Don Kofels has retired effective June 6th. We've retained him in an agreement that we're still working on, but we've retained him in an agreement through October 31st to get us through fire season. And the fire board meets this Tuesday, the 29th, to begin a conversation about job description development. What exactly are we looking for? Even with the passage of the local option levy, I've been in the fire service a long time. I don't think we need a full-time fire chief. I think the rest of the board feels the same way. We're better off with spending personnel service dollars on full-time employees that can actually keep the fire station and apparatus operational and moving and be available to respond. So I think we're looking for a half-time, more of an administrative kind of position. With that, we've got a few different projects that have been started. We're transitioning a lot of our bookkeeping over to a consulting firm. So you guys, I've only been up here for about 4 years. I understand back in a few years ago, there was a problem with some of our financial reviews getting caught up and done. Again, one of my priorities, we're transitioning that workload over to somebody that's going to keep up on that and get that done. So we don't put the fire district in jeopardy again down the road. We're actually moving that direction right now. So anyway, meeting coming up for the board on the 29th to discuss that. And I guess I would close with, if you guys have any concerns, questions, please reach out to anyone on the board of directors. Steve Hoppinitz is your guys' local rep here, and Steve does a great job. I've worked with him over the years, quite a while ago, when we were both firefighters on the other side of the mountain. Bob Zavatsky, Frank Burkeen, Bob Lecker, longtime resident and member of the board, but any one of us, reach out and let us know what's on your mind. If we got work to do for you, that's what we're there to do. So that's all I got.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Anybody have any questions for Jim while he's here? It's our opportunity, so.
I can provide myself or email or. So I'll give you my email right now. It's lowercase letters JRFORQUBER@gmail.com. And actually, Steve or Randy, I think you guys have got my contact info, and they'd be happy to share that.
Looking forward to it. Yep.
Thank you.
You might need some changes though to the site where it shows it, because people go in there and try to look for it and some of the stuff may not be right on.
Oh, yeah.
Is the office open to the public at any time during the day up there now?
You know, I gotta be honest with you, Levi is there, I think Tuesday through Saturday. I'm not 100% sure of his schedule, but I can find that out. And we've got a couple of seasonal folks and a couple of new students. Dawn's schedule now is halftime at best, I believe. So there may be days when there is somebody there. I think like Sundays and Mondays. I think the office is closed. Other than that, there could be somebody there, depending on Levi's schedule in particular. So.
Hey, Jim, I do have a question for you. So, or not a question, it was a comment. I was in the office, it was a couple of years ago, and I was in the back looking through, getting some paper and so on and so forth. Then I found these maps that Joe and Elaine put together for color coded in the Three Rivers. So it's the Three Rivers lot area, well, your 4-digit number identification, plus it was maybe 7 or 8 colored zones. So for evacuation purposes or bugging out. So it was a great map. Well, what I'm saying is, have you seen that, or is that something you might find valuable if we could get you a copy of that map, so?
I think Don has worked with Jefferson County and part of the Everbridge app that's available. I think we've got maps in the fire station up there that identify color and zones for the fire district. And I don't know that I've seen that specific, what you're talking about. So yeah, if you have something additional, that'd be great.
Hey, Joe, do you know which maps I'm talking about? Joe on the. In any case,
That is an old map, Everbridge would be.
Yeah, I do know which one you're talking about. And that was made several years before the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office mapping and evacuation zone system came out. It was intended for primarily for responders coming into the subdivision to let them know where the water sources were and the streets and such. But Jim, I can get you a copy of that just for information.
is that map current enough, or should we use the one that Jim's referring to?
Well, I think both have value, but I'll let Jim sort that out.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks, Joe.
we'll get you a copy of it. They're in the office. They just, if you stop by, if you care, I mean, if you get a chance, they have them, stacks of them, and they usually keep one, but I think I've been handing them out, so I don't have any. Other than that, thanks, Jim. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Hey, appreciate your support. So we enjoy this relationship. We're back and forth.
Yeah, no, I do too. I get, I've always been blessed with the career with Portland, with Umatilla County, particularly the smaller organizations that I've been with. We've got a pretty strong tie to the community that we serve, and it's not lost on me that the fire district is made up of the community, and we're not much without you guys, and it's probably a two-way street. So I've enjoyed working with Joe, Steve, Randy. John's a regular attender there, and I think we're heading in the right direction.
Awesome. Well, very good. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's appreciated.
Okay, roads. Looks like doing his thing today with Mike. Working on the yeah, that's okay. I'll give an update since roads falls under me, and we had a great meeting yesterday. So let me give you just a quick update. Kevin focused on brush cutting and spraying. We got that done this year. Our budget for that was 6,500. Road maintenance, his budget this year is 10 grand. Road signs, 500, and snow removal budget is 5 grand. So that's under his topic of annual common area budget. His proposed maintenance work for 2025, pothole repairs and shoulder work, proposal from Tri-County, that's 198,959. Gravel for Tri-County is budgeted at 17,250. Striping, he received a bid on 2/14 and 2025, but we haven't accepted that or done anything with that yet. Spray shoulders, Brett Rock from Helena, his bid was 4 grand. He completed that this year. And Kevin's also going to take a look at this knapweed, I believe it's called, that's starting to raise its ugly head here in Three Rivers. It's an invasive species, and it's tough to eradicate. He did reach out to Brett to see if he could put together a package for us as to when and how and so on and so forth. Joe is actually very good. He's had some experience with that with his family and their horse ranch and so on and so forth. So they've added some experience, and he's working with Kevin. Old business, clean up a staging area, future pole barn for snow plows and water tank. They're working on it right now. They're getting that area cleaned up, because they're going to start using Tri-County's coming in here for the month of August. And there's going to be a staging area for that as they do all their pothole maintenance, repair, and crack sealing and everything else that they've got going on. So they're working on that now. It's a gravel easement road off Airstrip Lane. You have it surveyed and deeded to 3-hour LOA. That's something that's old business continuing. Let's take a look at the CIP. Funds available, 169,363 for the road assessment. He's got 38,448 that was transferred from us from the legal fund that we never used. And he's on loan 10 to 15,000 from the volunteer fundraising committee and the gun range commitment of $5,000. Basically, when he put the road in and finished that project at the rifle range, he may not need to borrow those funds. So I think we're in pretty good shape that way. But he did mention he may not even have to get the loan because we had an owner that volunteered to about 25,000 in labor putting a road in. Huge savings for us. So that certainly helped.
Yeah, when would that decision be made? Because I only have till, the end of October, if I'm gonna get that 5,000 back. I'll certainly have a way to spend it.
Yeah, well, let's talk to Cal, see if we can grab him. If he's outside the door right now, John, we can get him up now. Too. I mean, if you want to just cut the red tape through the red tape, so. I couldn't have yeah, the new business, he's working on the Vista Lane easement. For those of you that are not aware of that, there's 5 homes on Vista and there's no particular road that we maintain. It's just gravel. And so right now, the property owners have been informed, at least the ones that are asking about it, Lauren and the Walkers. They are to reach out to the other 3 owners, and once all 5 of them agree that they would like to have Three Rivers maintain the road in front of their home, then we can go through the process of doing that. We'd be more than happy to do that. But it's up to those 5 individuals to get together, unanimous side together. So in other words, if there's 4 that want to and 1 says no, the project can't move forward. So they all 5 have to be together wishing for that to take place. So they're working on that. And that's it. The next meeting is going to be Saturday, August 23rd, 9 a.m. here at the event. So that's the update for roads. And let's see, boundaries and land use. Mr. Panic.
Meeting was called to order at 10:03 a.m. President was Jeff Berry, and we checked Rich Randall, Tammy Carpenter, Kevin Fitzpatrick, Bobby Gloria, and Joe Barrett. Also in attendance was Steve Brennan. Housekeeping, Rich Randall motion, Tammy Carpenter seconded, and the June 28th meeting minutes were approved. Boundaries. Lakeshore Fire Rescue and Three Rivers lot line adjustment. Jim said it all. Yes, I'm not going to prove everything I have on my report is what he just also said to everybody. So we'll be in the meeting minutes, but I'm not going to go through it because it's just repeating what he said. Brandon Lane boundary matter update. Rich reported that the 2 parties are waiting for a response from the attorney drafting the agreement. Once agreed, the 2 parties will provide the agreement to settle the matter to boundaries and land use and present to the board of directors for consideration. Land use. Jefferson County proposed ADU changes. Joe Barrett presented to the committee a comprehensive update proposed changes by Jefferson County to property usage within the county to include ancillary dwelling units, ADUs. Remember that, ADUs. In 2002, the association sent a letter of concern to the commissioners stating we would appreciate that Three Rivers was excluded from consideration for ADUs in the past and encourage the commissioners to exclude Three Rivers from considering for ADUs now and in the future. The committee discussed and Joe Kerr made a motion, seconded by Rich Bramble, and the committee unanimously approved to send the previous letter to the board for approval and submittal to the Jefferson County Commission. Airport development. The committee is waiting to receive the drawing of the proposed paved tarmac area. Committee believes the project is planned to be completed after the board of directors approval in August, along with the breakaway signage at the west end of the runway to help keep traffic off the west end. More information coming in August. Southwest Rifle Range Road Extension. The committee's final task for the road extension is to provide a mapping and file a road amendment to Jefferson County Community Development Department and GIS departments for the extension of Southwest Rifle Range Road. Joe Burke will prepare the map. Governmental Affairs, SMP. Randy reported a submerged vehicle at the Three Rivers Boat Ramp, which is part of the Metolius federally protected waterway on the afternoon of June 29th. No one was injured during the accident. The driver cooperated. The incident report was created and information will be held in a confidential SMP file. No hazardous material was found. Randy shared the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and Clean Water Act, CWA information with the committees. Jeff Berry suggested the committee look into having a hazmat station in the area for quick response. Jefferson County Community Development Department, Planning and Public Works, Rich Brandholt confirmed the new Community Development Director is Derek Payne. He further provided an update on the Planning Commission. Approved ADUs are a concern for Three Rivers. Bridge inspection results are on hold from ODOT. Discussion regarding the Geneva Squaw Flats to Wilkes Road has been deferred to the Board of Directors for the next step. Oregon DEQ wastewater treatment permit termination, Big Canyon Common Area. Randy and Ed provided an update on the decommissioning of the wastewater treatment permit, which is just north of this building. We still anticipate this matter resolved before year's end. New Governing Docs Committee. The committee learned that Joe Parrott is the chairperson of the new Three Rivers Governing Docs Committee, a subcommittee of the boundaries and land use. Joe selected 3 owners for this subcommittee, himself as chair, Jeff Berry, and Tammy Carpenter as members. Joe will provide updates on progress at each meeting. Once completed, they'll be submitted to the Board of Directors for review and consideration. Next meeting is August 16th. 2025, following the Roads Committee meeting in the Event Center. Motion was made to adjourn at 11:26 a.m. by Kevin Fitzpatrick. Get B check second. Unanimous consent. That's it.
Very cool. Any questions for Randy? I will just make a quick mention that Jeff Berry had a good idea, and I think he's going to reach out and see what they're doing down at the other marina and the boat launches. To see if they have a process in place so we don't have to reinvent the wheel on any kind of a hazardous issue with somebody's submarine vehicle at the boat launch. So yeah, just for that. Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, volunteer fundraising committee, Tom.
I'm gonna let Meg go ahead and she has an update from the volunteer.
We had a successful 4th of July. Typically 4th of July, bingo in the kitchen is least attended, and this year it wasn't 100 degrees, so we did have a good turnout. We are getting ready to have our next can and bottle sort. Will be this Wednesday, and I know that for quite a while, property owners have said, "God, how can we get on with it and we can support as well?" We're up here, children's are up here all week long, pretty much take care of everything. And for the weekends, we want to maintain our faith. And so I have a proposal for people who want to volunteer, can make the Wednesday can sorts. We are in need of someone to regularly pick up the cans and bottles out of the yucca box, also out of the airfield box. So I'll put that out on Facebook too. But that is something that we're looking for, and that would be a way for people to volunteer for that. We've had some great feedback on putting in the solar and the internet down at the swim area and boat launch. If we ever have a child with an issue, we've got to have that to be able to reach out. And then on the weekends, we have bingo. Kyle has also set up a system at the rec hall, and so when that generator is running, when that solar, when that generator is running, you also would have access to internet there as well. And I think that's it.
Meg, if you don't find anybody through your Facebook first, I'll pick up.
Okay. Yeah, somebody who can want to help.
Okay.
throw my 2 cents in on this can thing. I will watch almost daily, people drop cans, and I'll use our area up there at Wildcat, for example. They drop their cans in, they drive right by here going out the gate. Why don't we put those boxes down here that eliminates trying to find, we have one. Why don't we put those two down here? They're driving by here anyway.
You think that's not?
If they want to get rid of them, they'll stop, yeah.
How about Wednesday, we'll put that out to the volunteers. See where we could.
As far as I'm concerned, the ones on, the only ones up on Yucca that would concern me is the ones that go to the lake and don't turn to come down this way. But everybody that lives up here goes and gets mail every day. They're driving right there here every day. I think, myself personally, I think the can boxes ought to be down here.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents. That's all I got for that.
Not a bad idea, because
I think that makes sense.
This box here gets used each of all of them. One here gets a minimal amount of deposits into it. And it's dead on the middle of what everybody drives by.
It's the last one ever placed too, correct?
yes.
There was never ever one here originally, correct?
It's been there for
Yes, but the others have been established. I wouldn't remove the ones at the gate. I would not remove those, but I'm just saying, everybody drives by here, and if all the can boxes are here, just eliminates a lot of trying to find a volunteer. Well, when you guys work out however you want to do that, if they need to be moved, I can move them.
I might be able to watch the county.
About 4 years ago, I rebuilt all the boxes and where we needed to, like at the gate, built extra boxes and put the one up down here. The only thing to consider is the congestion problem when, especially 3-day weekends, there was a huge congestion issue at the gate. That's why we moved the one down here, having them spread around to some of the other locations is you may experience here.
Improve, the garbage center area. And, because then people can pull off, and we have, the recycle ones there instead of right in the gate. Because if I always run mine, and so I always, like put it in park way back so somebody can come around and put it in and stuff like that. And obviously not everybody's gonna do
That is the plan,
that. Okay.
to make that area, that center area where you can drive completely off, and the cans will be
On the
on
side.
the garbage side, not right there in front of you. So that is the plan. I would post a sign on Wildcat and post it electronically in the beginning. Take your cans down to the event center.
Just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. It's just an idea. Doesn't happen. It happens. Just food thoughts.
All those that have a tractor, raise your hand. Quite a few, so no problem there. Thanks for volunteering for that too. Oh, anything else?
No, I think we're good.
All right, Vernon, well, very cool. So we're at 10:55 right now, so for 9:55 right now. 9:56, we're on track. Okay, rules and regulations. Mike submitted his consent report, very thorough. Sent out to all the board members and it'll be posted. So nothing really to add at this point. Mike well. So have an additional conversation. Fire-wise, I have no report since their last meeting. Let's see, architecture.
Hey, before you move on.
Yeah.
Just with fire, spider hitting, and anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but I just heard it, is that the pit's gonna be.
I have not heard that. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. So Mike Patton was the designated approved by the board as the bid master. So right now, I don't know who's responsible for locking and unlocking. Mike was the guy. Who's
Well, if it has the same law. If it's the same law, unless it is. Is it? Okay. I mean, I know that they had a discussion with the fire department, agreed. And so, and it was through Firelight somehow, but anyway, it's being.
They agreed to open it back up.
Yes. Because the fire department, I sat in the last meeting, stated, we'd much rather have it be at the pit than on people's property. Yeah.
keeping it on your sense. Well, I'm glad you brought it up because I don't know who the liaisons could be now, with the ability to lock. We should be. For this, but we need to handle that piece of stuff. So I'm up for any recommendations on who's going to be the official pit. Should be somebody here full time, just because, you know, like myself, I'm part time, I'm not here. I can't do anything, but it's ask somebody else full time.
Jeff Berry had called me and had questions on why it was closed, who closed it, who, you know, because he had a bunch of stuff he wanted to drop off there. He might be someone that might be willing to do that. He's here full time. He has equipment. Not that he wants to go down there and use his own equipment and stuff, but Jeff Berry might be somebody that might be open to that.
We'll reach out to Jeff.
What's the main reason that we close that?
Quite frankly, we don't close it except for when the fire, I mean, this is my understanding, the fire department says we don't want anybody putting stuff in.
But that kind of goes against what they just said, that they'd rather have it there than on somebody's property.
Right, but I know why they did it, because of off-road riding is why it was done. People would, they would see the stop sign, they turn around. So, but it's, yeah.
So if we left that open and just flag that like we have our off-road trails right now, could that just be left open and people could still dump? I'm just throwing this question out. I'm trying to find a solution for something here.
And that makes sense.
Just flag it and that's what I'm saying. If we flag it like we got our off-road riding and leave it open.
And you know, people right by that, there was
Well,
an issue.
you know, you're only supposed to go 30 miles an hour down here, 35, and everybody goes 110. So
Yeah. Stupid is.
you take care of what you can take care of, but
Do we have an extra sign, available? Like we do the other off-road sign. Right? That makes perfectly good sense to me. I was joking, but that makes perfectly good sense.
I'd sure like to have more of those signs. I know the ones that you have, they're just a plastic one, right? They're not a.
I don't know. Material is actually,
It's almost saying words.
yeah, it's heavy enough that we're using them year after year, so.
Heavy, heavy.
I could probably pull. Kind of jump it up one
Right.
and planted them right in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And we still had a quad driver.
We have the, Megan turned me on to somebody that does her signs for us, and they did the signs for the Wi-Fi and the local mattress company. If we need to have some signs made, they were very reasonable and good material, and it looks like it pulled up. It was, what's it called?
Rip Q.
Rip Q. They're right up on the plateau up there by the.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that we've had way better success this year with our signs posted for off-roading than we've had in the previous years.
Yes. Right.
No posting. I think that's solved a lot of it, not 100% of it, but it's solved a lot of it.
Well, we've got 500 in the road sign budget that has. So we've got 500 bucks.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
These are actually big fire.
Yeah, I mean, you like $100 you probably get it from
I
me.
think they came from the fire
Done,
department.
you know, you'd probably get 5. I don't know how many you need, but I think,
I don't know if it was it, but my husband Dave took our biggest tow down there and worked 4 days and last year with Mike. Mike wasn't there most of the time, but we piled up all the piles and we worked in conjunction with Don. Because Dave and Don have a good relationship with each other. And he allowed us to pile them all up and get them burned. So if you needed a new pit master, not even volunteering my husband. 5 years. I would do that for you because, you know, he knows how to get the piles piled up and he volunteered a bunch of time and effort to all of that. So, I don't think that.
if he's going to do it,
Energy, just like to just give back to the community and 4 days of time on the big machine is a lot of money. If you were to add it up and you build up for it, and I think it was easy for him to take those piles and manage to get rid of, I think he got rid of, we come through down there, and he got some good poles and buried all of them. And there was probably 50 of them, I wanna say.
Well, you know, that's, I appreciate that.
That you might need for the, for that.
So on condition of acceptance. Make a motion for that.
Minutes.
Let's make a motion. Make a motion. So need a motion.
make a motion to make, the pit master.
Second. Any second? At or down.
And who will be the one to communicate, in addition to Connie, we should, yeah, somebody should reach out and do
Let
it.
him know. You'll do that, and but I'll officially let him.
Yeah, just let them know what it's called and how to, you know, who you're supposed to contact, if it's Levi or Fire.
Yeah, it would be Levi, and then, you know, it's a good time to have a conversation with Steve off of it and Shannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, all work. The more we cross pollinate and work together, well, that each is possible. I'm so pro that, so very cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll reach out to you.
Roll call. Roll call. Ready?
Yeah.
Kyle,
Yes.
Tammy, Tom,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
let me, yes.
I believe that code's 1961, so it's Desworth's birthday. All the, okay. All right, architectural. Office, anything, Dave,
No, not this time.
and then, communications, probably the same thing, unless, Mary.
Nothing at this time.
3-hour watch, Steve, anything on that?
Director 7, Steve's reports are all the same. Just one addition, if, just for everybody's use and my own, where is the easy, I'm asking Mary, where is the easy way to find our reports?
Okay, you go to the documents on the website. So you click on the top level residents, documents, and you have to be logged in. So residents, documents, and then from the document screen, it will show you the list of documents. There's board, it says board and committee. And you click on that, and then there's board, and then it has agenda and minutes. And then under that is the years, and it goes back to 2011, I believe. We were able to bring over a lot of that, go down to 2025. And then in July is where all of the current documents reside. So that's where they were put this time. In prior, I mean, June was there, but only has the agenda and the financials. So I don't know where the other documents, but that's where all the documents should be. And everyone, as long as you're signed into your account, should have access.
Thank you, Mary. I actually know how to do it now. I find that, I just brought this up for everybody listening for years. That HOA Start app is awesome. And it's easier to navigate. and find.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you can't do a direct link to that, but it's not possible. You basically have to drill down yourself. And that's probably one of the shortcomings that I find with it, with having to get down to, because we have things at various levels. And there is no way to create a link for that actual agenda and meetings folder. You have to start at the documents level and drill down. So.
If I could just dovetail on that for a second, sorry, Steve. I think it would be so cool if we could do an evening after hours. Busy time the schedule allows to be able to do a Zoom, training session. It doesn't have to be long, just have an act, just so we're all on the same page. And plus it'll give us some other time to talk about other stuff as well. Just it'd be good, it's a good get together. We maybe take a look at that.
Yep.
Mary did one of those several months ago.
I'm just saying we could.
Sure.
Okay, anything else, Stephen? All right, airport, I'm just gonna mention that I received this communication from Mike. Added his consent. So this is what Mike's been working on, McAdam's been working on, with the airport. So I'm gonna give you, 5 bullet points and some information. So coordination with Oregon Department of Forestry. So, Mike is gonna contact with Jamie Knight, the Oregon Department of Forestry regarding potential funding for improvements to support firefighting aircraft operations. So far, communication, phone calls, emails, and a meeting was discussed for June, but it's not yet scheduled. Mike's reaching out to them because what a great relationship. If they have issues, if they need to stager during fire, we've got an airport. This is a great chance to shake hands with the Department of Forestry. So I appreciate Mike's looking at the big picture. So also expansion of aircraft tie downs. He mentioned Kevin Spencer regarding possibly adding additional tie downs for larger aircraft on the northwest side of the airport. Kevin's often covered the cost of improvements in that area, which we've identified as the most viable location for items. So again, he's reaching out. Kevin's willing to, fund that, and that airport was actually paid in tarmac funds from Randy Robinson, another volunteer in the past. So it's pretty cool. So he's working on that. Third is runway protection and maintenance. Signage has been posted at the west end of the airport to prevent riding, driving, or other activities that could damage the runway and surrounding travel. This appears to be effective. Looking ahead, some runway maintenance will be needed to address cracking, mowing, and spraying the runway edges, which would also help extend its lifespan. With volunteer assistance, especially from those who use the airport, these tasks could be accomplished at no cost. Fourth item, community engagement opportunity. So promoting the runway perimeter is a walking path on both sides. Could be a way to engage non-aviation members. Some thought starters that he's working on, and he's good on that. Last, east end improvements, rocks and shrubs have already been removed from the dirt area on the east end of the runway, improving access and all portion. So again, his comment closed, please look. Like sketches I have. So Mike did a nice job on that, appreciate it. That's his briefing. Okay, gun club. I'm glad you're here, John. Tammy, you and
I forwarded my report to Tammy, so I don't have.
okay.
So, again, the truck shoot that was on July 4th, and went pretty well. There's a shotgun fun shoot. For August 2nd. The fire range went into extreme, so the range is closed for open shooting. They do have RSOs scheduled for weekends from 8 AM to 12 PM. And then they're getting final quotes for the metal steps. And those are looking to be done in the fall. And then the next gun club meeting is August 2nd at 1 PM. And all are welcome to attend.
For the gun club.
With fire prevention, that is raring to go if there is a fire down there.
We have the 500-gallon water tank to serve with 2 3/4-inch hoses on it and a brand new pump motor we just put on it, and that was donated by Jeff 2 or 3 years ago. The association actually has that as an asset, and the gun club manages it as far as winterizing it and so on. We have 2 of the 25-gallon Class A extinguishers that are used for somebody grabbing something and taking off with it. We have a bladder bag that I didn't even fill up this year because none of us are in good enough shape. Throw it under a bag and run up the hill. But I should probably have some water just in case we have guests in. It might be. On the firing line, you know, the only fire I have ever seen, I started myself with a revolver and I had no oil rag. You have some ABC extinguishers that are available for that. We have our RSO cart, the golf cart that's there that has the full first aid kit and a 25-gallon extinguisher and an ABC on it. So it's pretty easy to run around back and forth in the shotgun area and the rifle area. You know, as far as fire starting, you know, we keep seeing on the news, I've never seen an investigation report when they say there's more and more fires coming from people planting out in gravel pits and stuff. And Don is in agreement, you know, the shotgun site we're not concerned about because everything is lead, it's a non-ferrous bullet, projectile, non-ferrous bullets don't start fires. So RSOs monitor all of the steel jacket and the steel core bullets that are being fired. We actually have magnets in our pocket, check everything, everybody that comes in. But if we have a fire related thing start from the range, I believe it's going to be somebody shooting steel when they shouldn't. We have all steel being removed. Not concerned about pistol shooting steel. The practical pistol guys want to do that. Don is fine with that because of the lower velocity. Again, years ago, I started a fire out here shooting long range one day, and the projectile was a non-ferrous bullet, but it had such velocity, it went straight through metal, and the metal turned into slag, and that threw enough heat down, and it wasn't a big fire or anything, but we do have that to worry about. So every bullet that's being fired, they're going straight into dirt berms. We're not bouncing cans along with rocks and stuff like they will during the winter time. Francis donated time to put up the 25-yard berm. It's we have 3 target stands in front of it at 25 yards in the rifle area, and we have adequate berms in both pistol areas, and the shotgun area again is not that much of a concern. I do see a cigarette butt once in a while out there that should not be. We try to guide people. You can only smoke sitting in your car. But I think I know my RSO that smokes. I think I know who to go talk to. So anyway, I feel that the gun club guidance over the shooting range and the 3 Rivers responsibility. Everyone's been very responsible down there during extreme fire season. We do plan to close the month of August. Frankly, I kind of wear out my volunteers today. I've been monitoring the RSO. We haven't had a shooter down there today. We had 18 shooters last weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It was only 4 different parties, but they were families, young kids. You just love to see the family atmosphere that's growing down there, and it was great to see that. So if anybody has any other idea on what we can do, it's very important to us to make sure that we watch what's going on Firewise.
So the one and only major fire we ever had down there was before we started doing fires. So, people did.
Yeah, that was a tracer bullet, yeah.
Yes. And
Even with a barricade that's up, people can shoot and plank up the side, so.
Yeah, we're in good shape. You done a phenomenal job. Question. Any other questions on fire, on the gun club? So August 8th, I do front pistol, we're okay.
Yes. Unless we have a red flag that comes up and that we won't know till the day before. And just to note, Kevin wasn't out there, so what procedure should I go through to see if we have that additional money in our budget?
He was?
He was not
No,
out.
he was not. Okay, well, he's on site today, so, let's hook up afterwards.
Yeah, I've got to head out as soon as the meeting's done and.
I'll ask him.
Check.
As soon as I get done, I'll ask him.
But I have the bids coming in on these metal stairs, and if I can change it from 2 sets of stairs to 4, that would be terrific.
My prayer is that we
Right.
can do. Okay, so that concludes our committee reports. So, under old business, I put down, update the chair people, committee members, rosters needed. The reason for this is on boundaries and land use. I don't know that we officially got, Randy's members officially in, because every committee member has a 2-year commitment. And the way our bylaws set up on committees, it's 2-year rotations. Well, if you're starting from scratch, everybody's in there, so it's a little loose. But in either case, I would like to make sure that that gets in and approved. So Randy, do you have, would you like to make a motion on your the committee members, and that way we can vote them? Yeah, well, I don't remember Jeff Berry or Rich and Janice Brandvold. If so, then we won't need to go through it. Okay.
Remember all the names.
Well, I can make a motion.
I just want to clean it up so it's solid, so there's no issue. It's a little housekeeping, okay.
Okay, no, that's fine. I motion to approve the boundaries and land use committee, the following, members. Jeff Perry, Ed Beechek, Rich Van Brandel, Tammy Carpenter. Actually, you're a liaison, aren't you?
Yeah, I could be a member. Okay. We don't want 2 board members, but I can be a list.
Kevin,
You call.
Kevin Fitzpatrick, Bobby Longoria, and Jill Perry.
Actually, I need to be on there because we don't, well, no, Cammy's on there, so we're good. We can have 2 board members. Okay.
There's a motion.
Who's the last one?
Jill Perry.
We need a second.
Yeah, I was waiting for David.
Oh, I'm ready.
Give him a moment.
So I second, Kyle Thompson.
All right, Tom,
Yes.
Tammy, Steve,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so
Sure. Bring that later. So, when was the members of the architectural committee and the vote and regulations committee? When were they appointed or whatever, because I know that when I part of our technical committee, here's the big one. Okay. But, so remember they pointed in and I haven't heard the rules and regs, do the same thing.
Yeah, well, that's why I put it on the book, if there's somebody else other than Dr. Lange, let's do it now, let's get it all squared away. If you want to take it. Officially, do it twice, and we didn't need to do it, let's just do it again and make sure it's all.
That's something we did not bring with me.
Well, this, so if it's a volunteer, there's no way. You have.
And it's really.
Okay, so I have back on 427. For the boundaries, I got Tammy, I got Bobby, I got Rich, Janice, Jeff, Kevin, Mike Fisher. That's
Yeah,
who I
but
had.
we removed Mike Fisher at the last meeting.
But that was, okay, so that's what I had, 417. that was
Okay, so
approved.
we were.
So all we need to add is
Okay, so we're
remove
good.
Mike and add Joe.
Joe, yeah. Joe was always on, wasn't he?
I didn't have, well, I'm not saying he wasn't, I'm just saying I didn't have him written down.
Well, you didn't have it written down, yeah. Joe's always on.
Okay, so
Nope, I don't
land
have,
use
I didn't have him on here.
is solid. Would you have a note in there for architect?
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay. This is.
Committee. Just let you read it.
No, go ahead.
Randy Panic, Tom McGuire, Lisa Vernassa, Jeff Thompson, and Molly. No,
It just, Teresa gave me this list and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
that was,
And, you know, per the bylaws, like you were saying, they have to be put it in every year. How is that gonna work?
No, it's every there are 2-year terms.
Yeah.
It was set up staggered, and two go off, two go on, but
That's what I
if you're
could-
starting slightly scratch, they.
I don't have it.
yeah.
I'm not getting that detail into it, I'm just whoever's on.
'Cause that's
committee,
on-
official,
Yeah, this was
620.
620.
Yeah.
But she didn't, it was an agenda, it was never brought up.
That's,
29.
Yeah, it was never.
this is just housekeeping stuff, just to make sure that it's all.
Do you want the list for rules and regs,
Rules and
or was that taken care of? Okay,
Dave's gonna.
um, Tom saying they think they've lost the audio again. Tom, was that because we were being quiet or are you not hearing us?
I think,
It's good now.
I don't know if you were being quiet, but I can hear you fine. I couldn't hear anybody else.
Okay, they were just, Dave was reading through to try to locate, information.
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
All right, well, at least we got one. I'm gonna just continue this role business for the next meeting. Because of this week.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so now we have new business. Joe, you're up first. Joe is going to be giving us a presentation and update on the ADU situation that raised its head again. So, Joe, if you like,
You could share your document, Joe, if you want to, if you have one.
and I have a handout for them.
Yeah, I think the draft letter was emailed to everyone on the board, and I think Ed's got hard copies available for anybody that might need one. So I'm just going to go ahead and launch into the discussion. Back in 2021, the Oregon legislature passed a bill that allowed accessory dwelling units to be located on rural residential properties. An accessory dwelling unit, just really quickly, is a complete self-contained dwelling. It can be normally only one dwelling is allowed on a piece of property. The legislature, for a variety of reasons, wanted to allow additional dwellings. And the difference between a dwelling and a guest cabin that many of us have on our properties at Three Rivers is primarily the kitchen. Accessory dwelling units can have a kitchen with a stove and oven and that sort of thing. But a guest cabin cannot. And so that's the distinction. ADUs were intended to provide an opportunity to take care of an elderly person but not in your home, but in their own separate dwelling, as affordable housing for people that can't afford otherwise, and the like. They're limited to 900 square feet. There's some other restrictions on how they're built and developed on the property. Back in 2022, the Jefferson County was giving consideration to where they would be interested in allowing ADUs. And they settled on rural residential property outside of city limits, but within urban growth boundaries, which is a boundary that a city can annex to at some point in time. At the time, the community development director, Scott Edelman, reached out to us at Three Rivers and said, "Are you guys interested in having ADUs allowed in Three Rivers?" And the boundary committee discussed it. We came to the board and with our recommendation to not, for a variety of reasons, and sent them a letter saying thanks, but no thanks. We're not interested, and they honored that. On June 25th of this year, the county commission had a workshop that I watched about accessory dwelling units, and Three Rivers came up in the conversation often as a place that would be a good place for ADUs. Was a little concerned that Commissioner Seth Taylor kind of giddily was talking about these would be wonderful opportunities for like Airbnb or Vrbo rentals, and that the county could collect all the transient occupancy tax off of those and make a bunch of money. Well, we all know that we don't allow that in Three Rivers. So I've prepared a letter that you have the copy of for your consideration. The boundary committee has reviewed it and said they liked it and recommend that you all approve it for distribution to the county. And it goes through, largely it's an adaptation of the letter the board sent back in 2022, because nothing's changed between then and now. The water supply is an issue, groundwater protection is an issue. We have natural hazards, no economic development that SB 391 anticipates. The biggest problem is our public facilities are pretty well maxed out right now. Marina parking on a busy weekend is just impossible. Our beach is usually packed on weekends. If we were to have ADUs allowed in Three Rivers, we could have 400 more, potentially up to 700 more homes that could be rented to people long-term, and that would be that many more families or people impacting our facilities. Finally, our governing documents, CCNRs only allow one permanent single-family residence on a property, so that allowing ADUs, if the county was to, by zoning change, allow ADUs, that would violate our CCNRs, and that discussion came up during the workshop as well. And we don't allow short-term rentals, so, and that was one of the things that, like I said, Commissioner Taylor was kind of excited about. And finally, I just wanted in the letter to remind them that we are a private community. All of our roadways, all of our common areas, all of our recreation facilities and the like are paid for by us, not by taxes. County property tax money doesn't do us much good at all. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about this, but my recommendation, the boundary committee's recommendation, is that you allow Ed to sign this and we get it off to the county.
So I sent the letter out to all the board members for your review ahead of time. So, you know, this is one that I assume you all have gone through it, and look at, so forth. So next step is to make a motion and approve this in this letter that I will be signing on behalf of Three Rivers. So if we get a motion and a second, that we can have a further discussion.
So before you do the motion, I just want to point out I made one slight change in the letter from the version you have, and that's in paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. Following the word staff report, I added the case file number, case file 22-PA-01, which was the case file that the Planning Commission was reviewing back in 2022. So that's the only change.
I brought up a good question because ADUs, accessory dwelling unit.
I'm sorry, I can't hear who's talking.
Does that pertain to RVs and trailers, you know, that, or camping trailers and everything? And it was discussed that the ADUs are not a trailer, because I don't want somebody to come back in the future and then go, oh, you can't have a trailer on your property because you can't have an ADU. You know what I mean? So it's like up to interpretation. People can change what they think that means and not what it reality means.
So the county regulations on trailers, you can have the trailer being your primary residence here, and it can be hooked to septic, it can be hooked to power, it can be hooked to water. If you build a house on that same property, then once that house is completed, the trailer has to be disconnected from power, and septic. And it's only allowed to be used as temporary housing for a maximum of up to 6 months in a year.
Yeah, yes, and this is the same thing. We had a discussion yesterday and stuff, but I just didn't want somebody to come in later and say, oh, since you built a house, now you can't have a travel trailer on your property.
You can have it, you just can't have it hooked to septic, and it can't be full-time occupied.
Actually, the county's making me remove. When I got the occupancy permit on my permanent dwelling, the other one that was approved with an occupancy permit, even if I disconnected everything and just wanted to use it for a wood shop or something, it was never removed.
It's a travel trailer.
They did the same thing to me as well. I had to remove 2 travel trailers and take them down to Madras Sanitary and just let them smash them, and I had to get rid of them before my permit would be approved.
Wow.
For my building permit. Anyway, side note, does that answer the question for Joe here as far as any changes? He's going to make one change to the letter. That answer.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a question. I was just
Comment,
reiterating what was
for the record.
discussed. Yes, for the record. So no question.
Okay, good. No, I don't think so. This is a board, this letter was sent, on behalf of the board 2 years ago. I think it was Randy. So this is just a board speaking on behalf of us, what we do. So it's not a vote of the members. Great, this letter. We just don't want ADUs. For reasons set. Well, it was our position 2 years ago, and that position hasn't changed. Okay. Any other questions for Joe? All right, we need a motion for approval of the letter to the county.
I make a motion to approve the letter as is or with minor modifications.
With the minor
With the
modification as
minor.
I'm still thinking about it.
Hmm.
I second.
Tom,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Steve.
I'm thinking about the question that was in the audience about whether this should go to the members.
Well, you second the motion, Dave.
I don't.
Once we second it, we can go into further discussion if you like.
Okay. I'll be a yes.
Do I have to vote? Is there a split on this?
Nope, no split.
Okay, motion approved.
Motion approved.
All right, so it's gonna go under my signature, so believe me, we need this thing to be tight. Okay,
Okay, Ed, I will forward you the version that's got that case file number and take out the draft watermark off of it. And then I'll let you know how that needs to get distributed.
and just as a side note, folks, this is what's really cool about having our eyes and ears to the ground, county, and when we say government affairs, just keeping all of our eyes open and staying vigilant of this stuff. If we don't, and something comes up, it puts us in a defensive posture or reaction instead of being proactive on these tough issues. So I appreciate Joe. He sat through the workshop by the county. He logged in and he watched it, and that's how we knew about the ADUs coming up again. So without us paying particular attention to this stuff, we become reactive and we're in a bad position. So I appreciate all of us keeping our eyes and ears to the ground on this stuff in any capacity, because it's just so important to have that vision of that and that understanding of what's happening. So again, so we don't end up in a defensive posture about something that we could head off the path. So thanks, Joe, for doing that. All right, moving on to the next section here. I've got 1040 on my phone. Tammy, you wanted some time today?
I do,
So,
yes.
Put that in the meeting.
So is he going next?
Yeah, I've got you on. You're, I don't care, either one of you two.
Is yours short? Mine's not gonna be short.
Mine's gonna be pretty short.
Okay, why don't you go first then?
Okay.
Steve's up.
Mine, I asked this to be in an executive session because it involves talking about someone, and I believe that to protect that person, his reputation or her reputation, needs to be an executive session. So we will not discuss it in an open meeting.
Well, then we won't discuss it then, because the executive session, we're only obligated to fall into executive session under 4 specific areas as outlined by the. So if there's a particular grievance against an individual, we can't just go into executive session. Let's just use an example. If we go into executive session for a legal matter, that's for us to go in and discuss this private setting. Just, it falls into that category. But we can't do anything in executive session. We have to come out of executive session, and then we can discuss it from an action item. Then we can take action out of executive session. But we have to do so in public. Once we go into executive session, it doesn't give us carte blanche to be able to talk about anything and anything else outside of that specific reason for going into executive session. So we can't just go in there and start having topics and talking about various other items as a protected area or an area to have discussions on something that doesn't fall into those categories. So if you have a specific item that falls into those categories, then we'll go into executive session. If not, then if you have an issue or a grievance with an individual, this is the time to do it.
We've already stated it. You don't want it, so let's move on.
Move on.
Okay, so I wanted to bring to the board my appeal for the violation that I was given from the Rules and Regulations Committee. And I also want to have a discussion about the Rules and Regulations Committee, and it kind of is all combined together because it's how they violated the rules and regulations and the bylaws when they gave me my violation and stuff. And so there were 4 items. One was that the complaint form was not signed and in the rules and regulations. And right now there, even when you go online form, there is no place to sign the form and stuff. So I don't know about the form that you can pick up from the office. So that was so on the rules and regulations, it says all complaints must be signed for action to occur. Unsigned complaints will be filed, but no action will be taken. So that would be the very first one. The second one and the third one are the minutes. So in the minutes, so I requested them, and the minutes didn't indicate who attended the meeting, if there was a quorum or not. Did not, I already said that, did not indicate who voted for or against the violation. All it states is team discussed complaint that became ticket 4885. And then the result was recommended $100. There was no discussion. There was no explanation of what was discussed during this. I had emailed Mike the definition of solicit, gave him the link to the Webster dictionary, and then spelled it all out and stuff. So solicit is if you approach somebody and trying to sell something. That I did not do. And there's like 6 different things. So it's their, I guess, interpretation of what solicit means. And so that's the other. Okay. And then the 4th violation that they did was there was no notice given for the meeting and it was not open to the public. So I have the copy of the calendar, and you can see from the website it's not on there. So in the meantime, I went to a lawyer. I had a lawyer write a letter. He found 3 of the violations, or the whatever you want to call them. I found that the no signature one. He did confirm it's, discriminatory against me because, I was down selling truck stuff, but I was parked in a parking spot. I was not approaching anybody. I had my tailgate down. I put a couple tables out. If people wanted to come over, it was not soliciting. We have numerous people that go down there, puts their signs up. The gun club sells raffle tickets. Down at Easter, we had the mortgage company and some construction company, nobody's given them a violation, but somehow I'm being targeted. And I'm sure it's because I was selling truck stuff, because why can everybody else do it? And it's okay, and nobody complains, and nobody else is getting violation. So, the other thing, okay, so then they had, the appeal. My lawyer told me that, there's no use of going to the rules and regulations for the appeal, because they were not following the rules and regulations themselves, that this needed to become in front of the board. And so I received an email on Wednesday that I could come to the rules and regs the following Monday at 3 p.m. And so they did give the notice, because it's supposed to be a 3-day notice, which is fine. But I work full time. I work Monday through Friday, and this is during the day. Even if I wanted to take some time off work, I have to give my work a 2-week notice, to even ask for time off. And I get a 3-day notice, So they did put it on the calendar. I did get the invite, so that was one improvement. It was open to the public. And then the minutes got way better. So I do have to give them kudos to that. So the new minutes that they did for that, they said who was present and everything. So here's the other thing too, is that there was public testimony, a big paragraph about the public testimony. Review of my appeal, all it says was I didn't attend, and everybody voted to still fine me $100. So again, there was no discussion. Did he bring the letter from my lawyer? Did they discuss the details in that or anything like that? I have no idea. I mean, and then you go into these other violations, violation 5420, violation 5452, and there's paragraphs explaining what was discussed, and that somebody, went to visit the person and had a talk with them and everything like that. So why are they, and how am I supposed to appeal something that the minutes doesn't even explain what was discussed in it in the first place? So, let's see. And okay, that I already took care of earlier. No one noticed. Meeting. Thing. Okay, and so I have the definition. There's definitions of solicit. The definition of discriminate. So discriminate is to treat a person or a particular group of people differently, usually in a worse way. That's the definition of discriminate. And then and then after we do that, I do want to request for approval for the gun club to continue being able to sell raffle tickets, so we can get board approval on that. So the gun club will not be in violation. And then I would also request that I get approval to sell merchandise. And that's about it.
Well, this is a tough one to have to bring to the table.
Yeah, I'll put my 2 cents in. You know, I think that, you know, whether or not we did everything exactly by the books relative to the committees, you know, I don't know. I think they did the best job they could, and I think they followed the process, as they understood it. At the end of the day, you know, I was personally down there at one of the events. I had people come up to me that were very uncomfortable with the booth that you'd set up. And they, you know, is it political in nature? Sure, it was, but you know, when we looked at the bylaws, it's just, we don't want people selling things down there, period. It's, you know, it's not a, you know, whether you want to fly your flag, whether you want to put your bumper sticker on, I mean, people have the ability to do all that kind of stuff. This is a selling thing. Now, if it's a definition of solicitation, you going up proactively to people or not, you know, to me, that's a technicality. To me, it's just, we don't want people selling it, selling anything on private property. Advertising, to me, is different. You know, if you're selling, you know, if you're advertising, you're selling rock or selling real estate, or, to me, that's different. You know, my position is, we just don't want people selling stuff. And anytime you bring in politics and religion, it's just a slippery slope. And there's a time and a place, and this is not the time or the place to deal with religion or politics. People come here to have a good time, not have to deal with people's, you know, political views or religious views. That's my take. You know, and the other part is, you know, because you were so close, people were to the bingo event that I'm referring to. People thought that, you know, is this part of, and me personally, I'm part of the volunteer fundraising committee. Is this how, you know, where's that? Is this how you guys are raising money? Thinking that this was a, you know, something we were doing as a volunteer group to raise money, and that certainly is not the case. And it just the optics were poor. That's my take. I don't think we should allow anybody to sell anything down, you know, on common area. If you want to set it up in your house, you want to sell on the website, have at it. But setting it up right outside our bingo event, it's probably not appropriate. That's my take.
So, just to let you know, I was at that meeting that they had for the second one. And they went over every step. Speakers. I was there at the meeting, for the rules and regs. They did go every step that your lawyer had mentioned. I just wanted to throw in my personal thoughts on it. The rules and regs department didn't get involved just because they wanted to. There was a complaint by the landowner. So they had to follow through as a committee to do that. They did do the steps properly, from what I could see. So they made their decision, based on that. As Kyle mentioned, selling and such on common area property, it's not, to me, I don't, just my personal opinion, if I want to do something on my property, better not try to stop me. But if I'm gonna be doing something on somebody else's property, I get it that I'm gonna get told not to by chance. So to me, it's kind of a simple thing in the fact that you can't do it on someone else's property. So this property belongs to all of the landowners, common area property. I don't know if your lawyer put that into consideration. I'm not sure how he would have come up with the reason why. Again, just wanted to let you know that the rules and regs did do what you're questioning. follow through, documentation, minutes. I haven't read them personally, I just happened to be there. We're on the same page with 99% of everything, else, so, anyway.
Dave, comments could be each board.
Just so. We've had instances up here where we've had people park their vehicles to sell. And on common property, and we've had them remove their vehicles for sale. If they want to sell them on their own property, then that's the route we've taken, and I've seen that happen since I've been in here since 2017. So, like I said, I agree with Kyle with the signage. If you want signs on your vehicle, flags, or whatever you want, that's, everybody's got a business, but I just don't think the property sale on common area is the route to go. We turned it away before, and I don't think this is going to be any different.
Tom, do you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I do. I agree that I don't believe that we should be selling goods or services on common property. My concern is that this particular incident didn't involve a safety hazard, life or property issue. To Dave's point, we've had, people have tried to sell their cars and trucks on common property. I don't know that those people were fined. So my issue overall is that I think that this should have been resolved with a warning. I think that fining someone for something like this on a first offense, to me, is overreach. Unless we're going to do it to everybody that hangs a sign in their pickup truck that says for sale, or parks it down at the marina with a sale sign. I just think it's a slippery slope. I think first offense should have been a warning, and if there's further incidences, then consider a fine. But that's kind of my position.
So my question is it about the money for the fine, or is it about just?
Well, that whole fine thing, to me, yeah, that was like stabbing me in the back. That's like, I wasn't endangering anybody. I wasn't like driving 100 miles an hour. I wasn't, doing something that was, disrupting, and causing like the person that ripped up the gravel up there, 2 nights ago. And so, it's just like, that costs people time and money to go and fix it. So why would they, choose, because it does say on that chart, the first warning, the first violation is just a warning, but then they can choose to assign a fine. So I'm 100% taking this personal, because why would they even, do that? And then it's like the board doesn't even care. This whole discussion, nobody's bringing up these violations that the Rules and Regulations Committee committed while they're doing this in the first place. Because that, first and foremost, that form is not signed.
Well, I'll weigh in on this topic as well. So first thing I gotta say is, from a board position, Tammy, you're always first in on consent. Your opinions and voice matters. You listen well. You're a great board member. The last thing I want to do is lose you as I think Mike and his team, I think they did their due diligence in this matter. I think they put a lot of time and effort into it. He's calling me up constantly, asking me different questions. I've never done this before. I want to make sure I'm following the procedures correctly, and hey, there's no handbook on how to do this. So we'll just do the best you can, follow the processes as you see and do it as best as you can and put the time and effort in, and they did. I'm in a spot where I recognize the effort that they did in the process on how they arrived at the decision they made. And I'm also in a position, in my mind, I'm also supportive of what they did. As a, you know, and that's what you do. You support the chairman of the committee, and you hopefully that they do the best they can. I too agree that this matter should have never got this far. It should have been something that should have been discussed, giving you an opportunity to defend your position on this matter. It should have been discussed and handled, and never should have gotten this far. I'm into this situation right now where I want to support Mike and his team for the process they did and how they did it, and how the strategy and the logic and all of that. And I support that that person and what they did. Looking at this, I'm under a different opinion on the outcome of the solution that they came up with. But I support what they did, but I have a different opinion. Wasn't there at the meeting, but I think we should have not have gone this. So at this point, what is the direct ask that you are asking? Just make it clear in my mind what it is that you're asking. So I want to know how everybody feels about that. I mean, I'm in a situation where I support Mike and his decision he came up with, but I don't agree with, you know, the specific outcome. I think this is a tough one, but I think the intent was to make sure that we don't include politics or religion in anything as a person who represents Three Rivers. We need to keep politics and religion out of it. I mean, that's nothing new. That's been around for a millennium. So that's my personal take. As far as the violation and so on and so forth, I think we pretty much understand what our intent is. We don't want to do this. We don't want to have this kind of thing rise. We want to make sure this. So I'm under the opinion of finding an equitable solution without violating or the confidence in Mike and how they arise. So I'll just go around the board. What do you guys want to do?
I want to go first. So if you heard that I'm all about protecting people's personal rights, their reputation, would you want this in an open forum like this? Because I would not have agreed to this in an open forum.
Yes.
And I gotta read up on this.
Because I want everybody to know.
Okay, so
I want all of them.
you were okay with this being,
Yes. I would not have wanted it in a
okay,
no,
that's the only reason. So,
because I want
Now we
everything
do.
to be on record.
Dave, you have any other questions?
I don't.
I agree with you, Ed, and with Tom. I think that that this is something that we should have been able to discuss, work through, make sure people will clearly understand. We're not going to be selling stuff. I think a warning would have been appropriate. You know, I had encouraged Tammy. I sent her an email saying, "Hey, I think you should appeal to the committee." And that's the process as it's defined. Now, is the process perfect? I mean, you know, I've been on this board for, you know, a handful of months. I don't know. We're just doing the best we can. But at the end of the day, we don't want to be selling anything on common area property, and you know, and rather than try to, I personally would have just gone to a warning. But it's a little frustrating, you know, when we have all these things we're trying to get done. And for people to, you know, immediately go to a lawyer, and I mean, that, to me, that's just not trying to work together and come up with a solution. It's almost combative that, you know, but,
Well, the meeting and discussing it and did not, for me to attend in the first place. You know, how am I supposed to take that when it's like everything was secret and stuff? And when Ed called me, yeah, you know, and it was before the meeting, I already knew I was gonna get the violation because he told me that I was gonna get one. And that was 5 days before the meeting and stuff. So it's like, it was like, sit down, shut up and pay the fine.
well,
And that's how I took it, and that's how, you know, it was presented, because I didn't get a choice. I didn't get notification, I didn't get anything, in the meeting notes, said nothing about what was discussed. How am I supposed to appeal something when I don't even know a conversation?
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You know, if I think that's fair. I mean, I think.
Yeah, I think I personally, I think the intent and, you know, this is something that we just. Personally, I think it's change your. Gonna have to trump the committee, but that's. Our intent was to correct something, and it was all done, and I just don't see this as, I think we've done. I just have one question. As a representative of the Three Rivers Board, would you agree that keeping politics and religion out of what we do? Keep that way. Make decisions. I'm asking you as a board member, do you see the, keep,
Obviously, Trump stuff today. You know, I mean, last night,
just asking the question.
you know, but yes. I mean, it, as a board member, you don't sit there and. Yeah, that's just.
Well, that satisfies my question there. So, yeah, I'm under the mindset that we just move on. We got bigger fish to fry than this kind of stuff. I don't believe you. And your due diligence and what you do as a
You
board.
keep saying that. I mean,
Yeah.
Why is that even something that comes out of your mouth? I don't understand the reason to even say that.
Because the first time we had a conversation, so that's the case. And then I apologize. But my suggestion is to change the violation, the no violation, a warning, and move on. Is that acceptable? That's my suggestion. How do the rest of the board members feel?
I would be in support of that as long as we have clear understanding that we're not gonna sell stuff on common area property, and we do what we can to keep politics and religion, you know, out of our, you know, common area in terms of proactively, you know, selling stuff. That's what again, I don't think it warranted. I think we just had a conversation, say, hey, we're not gonna do that. As long as you agree to that and prevent it from happening, I think we move on.
Dave?
Well, as you brought up, you know, some of the facts that were missing or steps that weren't followed correctly. Kyle did send you a letter, copy letter, trying to urge you to attend that appeal meeting. Did you even reach out to that committee to see if we could change that date so you could appeal it?
No. That's brought to. And I don't feel like they would have treated me fairly either. Oh, sorry. How the steps went and stuff, and it's hard.
Want to take a break? Yeah, let's take a break.
Tom, the rest of the folks, we're just taking 5 minutes here, so just stay tuned.
Can you guys still hear us? Tom, can you hear us? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I can hear Dave real well. I can hear you real well. When Tammy was speaking, it was tough, and sometimes Ed. So if everyone can try to enunciate, it would be helpful.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, the situation kind of got a little personal, so we're just taking 5 minutes as a break to it got a little emotional, so we're just stand by for just a few here.
I totally understand.
Okay, everybody, we've gathered back up again to continue the meeting here.
And just a reminder, the end of the table, please speak a little louder.
All right, we're continuing, so just let everybody know, so please be respectful on, the conversations we move forward. All I can tell you, folks, from my point of view, is this is one of the toughest things, that I had to do on. Not just on this board, but this is just tough. So, Mike's not here to represent, because of his surgery. Yeah, so we don't have, I don't know, we haven't had representation from the Rules and Regs Committee. I suppose I could ask someone who's been in the Rules and Regs if they have a point of view on this, but they're not the chairman, so I don't know how to proceed with that. Personally, I think we should just, we've discussed this at length. We understand the issue's been resolved as far as I'm concerned. I think we should just remove the violation, move on, and get that bigger picture right. So, that's my point of view. And at the same time, the deepest apologies for, for having to put Tammy through this whole process. So, it's just extremely unfortunate that we have to go this far, especially the board. So that's my position.
Would it be appropriate to make a motion, and we can just vote on it?
It's gonna override, the chairman and the committee, but that's my position. Steve, you have something to add?
Well, yes, you do, you mentioned two things. I believe Mike is on through Maylette's phone.
Yes.
Is she able to speak for him at all?
Maylette, can you speak for Mike? Or is that appropriate?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What did you want his answer from? What's the question?
Have to bring him into the forum, wouldn't we?
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I believe we would.
We'd have to bring him into the quorum. We'd have to be okay with him speaking through Maylette, because he can't talk. So just wanted to throw that in, and we do have representation. Mary is the chair of the Rules and Regulations. We don't have reputation.
Oh, I thought Mike was the official.
He's the director. I'm the chair.
Oh, I thought I didn't know that you had been submitted. So you had been submitted as the chairperson of the Rules and Regs?
Yeah, it's been voted, we voted.
Oh, well, if that's the case, I apologize.
So I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
I was not here that month, but taking the notes. Steve found it.
Oh, okay. So, well, again, the forgiveness piece, my apologies. If you're the Rules and Regs chairman, you want to make comments?
Well, do we want to bring Mike into the forum things? I need to help on bringing that into the steps here.
Well, I think it would be appropriate. It makes sense. I can't see the reason why we wouldn't. I don't know that he can weigh in on it. I don't want to drag this thing on either for ever in a day either. So, Mike, are you okay with having with Maylette speak on your behalf so we can enter you in officially as being present in the meeting?
Are you okay with me speaking on your behalf?
Yeah, that's okay.
Did you hear him?
Yes.
Well, with that, the chairman of the Rules and Regs, if you don't mind addressing the concern.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually speak in Mike's behalf, or the Rules and Regs. We do have a signed copy of the complaint. It was a hard copy, and it was from that hard copy, we entered it into the violation system. When you asked for the copy of the complaint, you acknowledged the fact that because it was anonymous, it should be anonymous, that, you know, to blank out the names. I may have mistakenly then assumed that it was okay to send you the copy out of the violation system, which does not show, it doesn't have a place for the signature, and we've recognized that as an issue and discussed it as something that we need to clarify going forward. But we do have a signed complaint form. And so that was, the other issue we had is that was one of our first meetings where we went through as a larger group, and having to try to keep things anonymous. There was a lot of not putting names and things in the minutes other than Mike and myself, because we had most of the action items. We left out a lot of, we may have been a little bit too brief in our discussion. The reason there wasn't as much detail in the following meeting is because we only added that detail for new complaints or new violations that came in, and it was the detail that was provided on the complaint itself. I think part of the issue maybe is that the definition that we use for soliciting, which we pull from the internet, is soliciting refers to the act of asking for or trying to obtain something from someone, and in policy context, it usually means requesting money, donations, or support for a cause, charity, business, or personal gain, selling products or services, or promoting sales, recruiting for groups, organization, or religious political causes. And that was the definition that when we went up and Googled it, that was the definition we had. And based on that, including selling products, was why we felt that this was a violation. The fact that you're a director, and it was felt that as directors, we need to set an example, and that there was no evidence in the records that a request had been made in order to sell product, because the violation is about the fact that there was no written or request from the board to actually do the selling. So that's what the violation was for. So I understand that when we sent you the information, it may not have been what you expected to receive, and we were new at what we were doing, and we didn't mean to cause you any distress, but that was where we were coming from.
So I guess the question right now is, does the board want to overrule the Rules and Regs Committee on this issue and vote to remove the violation, treat it as a, you know, as a warning? So, or not to eliminate the violation, but to treat it as a warning. And we talked about it, I think, almost to the point of nausea. We know what all. Mike, are you okay with that? I saw that you guys met for a second time and discussed it, and you didn't change your course of action, but you still steadfast with that.
Ayelet, did you hear the question?
I heard the question. I'm waiting for Mike's answer so I can say it.
Yeah, I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, as the Rules and Regs Chairman, how do you feel about that, Mary?
To reduce it to a warning?
To reduce it as a warning.
And you're saying you're in agreement with that, Mike?
Yes, but I still want to make sure that we do not are allowed to sell products on common grounds.
My feeling is, I agree, the fact that, obviously there was a different definition of soliciting used in the, and there was, based on our lack of being new and what we were doing, we didn't realize that what we should have done as far as sending the copy of the original complaint that had the signature. It's too bad yes, so I would agree.
It's still going to be anonymous though, right?
Still anonymous, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we don't know who filed the complaint.
Yep.
Nobody's,
Don't-
that's stuff, the rules and regs, that's not public knowledge. Okay.
Somebody admitted to it.
And she's not going to be selling in the future.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
So with that, I mean, if the director and the chairman have agreed, I don't even think we
I
need to
don't
vote
think we
on
need
it.
to have a vote.
I think we just move on.
We just, yeah. That's my first.
Do you agree, Steve, you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely, that's, yeah.
That's the route they want to go.
It's, now,
Tom, are you okay with that?
Tom,
More importantly, Tam, you okay with that?
I'm sorry, I don't know if our rules allow the, two people to vote on something to overrule it. I think it should be, there was an appeal made to the board. I think we should have a resolution and I think we should vote on it and be done. I don't know that having the concurrence of the chairman and one director that they're going to revoke the fine is, I don't know the policies and procedures of that particular committee and whether they all need to vote on that. So that's the reason I think the board should vote, just to eliminate somebody saying, oh, but the whole committee didn't vote on it. I want to put this thing to bed.
All it does state that if they don't agree with the appeal, then you can go to the board. So I think it does require a vote from the board.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so somebody make a motion.
So, Kyle Thompson makes a motion to reduce the,
Move from fine to warning.
yeah, from a fine to warning. Is that,
like you to throw
as a recommendation from the director and the chair of the committee?
I'll second.
Okay, Tom,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Steve,
yes.
I don't, voting
Tammy
wise,
doesn't- Yeah, she doesn't.
I'll go yes also.
looks like we've lost Mike.
Pass.
I don't think you might.
No.
Get four.
Yeah.
Again, with the deepest apologies, it's never my intent. Okay. Okay, Vaughn. Yes,
Can we
please.
make public comments now?
Oh, we had one in-
Already did, but you can always.
Yeah, we had a
Your
question
point
over
that
here.
was good resolved
Nope.
this time,
Oh,
Claude.
Good.
that's right, there was.
Nope.
Was
Yeah.
there a question? Okay.
I
John,
just
you have-
wanted to applaud the board and Tammy for the willingness to talk through and resolve something like this as amicably as possible. and kind of move forward. And then it's also what my observation was, is that the gun club selling raffle tickets, if I get approval from the board to do that action, that can continue. Is that correct?
I think, I don't see a problem with that at all. I mean, we can easily do that. I've seen weirder motions on the board in the past, so this would probably be appropriate. So somebody want to make a motion to approve John's request to be able to solicit.
Explanation of why we're considering it.
And make the motion.
No, I'm trying to figure out. So, let me explain my thoughts here. So the rifle range is an entity within Three Rivers, and the rifle range is on Three Rivers common area. The gun club. So it's part of Three Rivers, is part of the common area.
It's not an outside entity.
Yes, there we go. It's not an outside entity. So that would be why we would consider electing. Am I getting clear? Let's figure out what I'm saying.
Right.
You.
So maybe I'll make the motion that the board approves the gun club's ability to sell raffle tickets on common area property and on Three Rivers functions.
As long as they don't include politics or religion.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Tom. Can you say it again?
Yeah, as long as none of the prizes involve politics or religion. Being pithy, but I kind of am.
That I mean, the raffle tickets, so I make a motion that the board gives the gun club the ability to sell raffle tickets on common area property and or common area functions, without promoting politics or religion.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Can we do the same thing for Quilton Bears for raffling?
Easter egg hunt and the Labor Day week.
Well, we encompass all that in one motion.
Okay, I'll amend mine. So I get,
I think we have to vote on the motion. I seconded it already.
Without having to restate, Kyle, including bears and quilts.
including bears and quilts, including Easter,
And the Labor Day game.
and including Labor Day games.
Just encompassing volunteer activities.
If this is Three Rivers common area property that Three Rivers is operating on, why do we need a motion to do this?
Doesn't, yep, it doesn't make sense.
We could,
Because
Because I'm
what you're doing here today is redefining common area. Is what you're doing. That's never been done. And I'm applauding you. You're, because it's never been done. We've always assumed common area belongs to the association, ever, right? But we've never defined the usages in any of the common. That's what you're doing. You're starting this process. And so if there's a way you can make a motion that satisfies that, then you've redefined the common area. So the reason why I say this is because I've been sitting back here listening to this is for 13 years, people have parked vehicles, cars, things like this in the common area. And what we've done is always been working. And we've never truly defined that. So you're starting the process here today. You really are. So you have to address all of it collectively.
Well, the motion, and that's, thanks, Randy, for clarifying that. So the motion, as I see it, the motion that Kyle made is appropriate, but it would include, as of today, the gun club who's represented, Bears and Quilts who's represented, and the volunteer fund volunteers represented. I can add this as old into old business on the next, if there's any other entity that we have not encompassed today, in general.
For sale sign on a snowplow. You open up a whole can of
What
worms
if
here.
you're on your property?
This is common property.
Oh, but it's open. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying, it's.
My point is, why are we doing any of them? They're all it's all common area. It's all part of Three Rivers already.
And
It's all run by Three Rivers. There's nothing private about any of it. There's no private entity doing any of this stuff.
No, I was just asking Tammy's question. She brought it up that
Ken,
we wanted, and John, we just wanted to.
But if you do go back to the original meeting,
Inside of Three
that it
Rivers.
has to be approved by the board, so that would mean that every year these entities would have to get approval from the board.
Can we kick this can down the road to the next meeting so we can all think about it? How we'd want to word this, and let's,
But this is a good first blush, so, yeah, let's table it and make it a little more conversation for the next meeting. Are you guys all okay with that?
Yes.
All right.
we can continue to sell raffle tickets until this is resolved.
It's current, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing to consider, just as an observation, as you look at maybe rewriting this or putting this in our CC&Rs. I mean, as I walked through the Easter thing, the Pacific Energy people reached out and said, hey, we're servicing Three Rivers. I said, I'm already a customer, but they were promoting and selling their energy services down there. So there are other entities that benefit their businesses selling on common property. We consider that, as well as our organizations that just serve within.
But that was political.
Right.
Again, good conversation for the next meeting. I think that's appropriate. We'll take all that into consideration. Okay. That is going to conclude our meeting at this point. So now I need a motion to go into executive session. Oh, I thought you didn't have a concern. You have another, okay. Okay. Never mind, we're still in regular meeting here. So Steve, you have the floor.
Joe, can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect. What you mentioned yesterday at the, about architect. Could you repeat that for everybody? The actual need to have an architectural committee?
Sure. It's actually a conversation that's been going on for a while, which really is, do we really need an architectural committee? The CCNRs describe in Resolution 1 describe what it has authority to review, and it's actually super limited. The counties in building code and zoning code regulations cover 99% of what we care about. And what it becomes is just another step for a landowner who wants to build something to have to go through in order to get their project underway. So I'm not saying I necessarily want it gone tomorrow, but I think as we talk through the CCNR rewrite, that needs to be on the table and in the conversation held.
Thank you, Joe. So we have a very respected person in Joe Barrett who is redoing our CCNRs, and you just heard his opinion about the architectural committee.
we just voted in impact fees on new construction, so how are we gonna enforce them if we don't have someone fill out an architectural package?
That'll have to be readjusted.
You're gonna do that?
Do you say?
If you're asking me, that's part of the conversation that's coming up.
Threw it back at you.
I still didn't hear what he
I
said.
said you can do that.
Okay,
I
so.
said, how can you do that?
Okay, we're on the architectural, sorry, Tom, I know you're on, yeah, so we're still talking about the architectural compensation. Did you have another opinion there, Tom?
Well, I know what I was questioning was we just voted in impact fees a month or two ago for new construction. And if we aren't notified that someone's building, because the county sure as heck doesn't notify us, how are we going to enforce our impact fees if we disband the architectural committee?
I don't think we're gonna get any architectural impact fees when we can't police the landowners for not filling out a permit. So it's mute. We have to readjust it. We have to reevaluate. Maybe it goes into some other area. So we can make this real quick if anybody just, you know, I know what my opinion is anybody, if anybody doesn't have an opinion and wants to discuss it further, go ahead.
Well, I can give you my opinion. My opinion is this is a pretty significant conversation to have. It could be resolved very easily, but the architectural is a standing committee. And, you know, we need to put our time and due diligence into this. So we can table this till the next meeting and have it as a discussion item on old business. We can all just think about it, put our time and effort into it, and then have a real solid discussion on the meeting. That's my two.
Let me jump in here real quick. Yeah, do we need an architectural committee? That's a question mark in my brain. And I'm sure we'll have more conversation about it. But ultimately, it's going to be the landowners who make the decision on what they want to see included in the CCNRs. So the process at this point, the subcommittee is going to be using is the three of us are looking through the latest draft and making our comments and notes. We will be putting together a survey of the membership that will go out and ask their opinion on what should be included in the CCNRs, such as what reasonable property restrictions on the use of property should be included. That's really the point of CCNRs is to define what's appropriate use of property and what's not appropriate use of property. So part of that will drive what the future of the architectural committee looks like, because it may create new requirements that the architectural committee would need to review, or it may eliminate all the ones that are currently in this document and render the architectural committee moot. So I would ask you to let the process work as we've got it set up through the boundary committee, and we'll come back to you with the thoughts and recommendations.
Will the survey questions be presented to the board before they're sent out? Because we can't get stuff posted on the website unless we get a vote of the board.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll do.
Joe, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm basing my question and where I was gonna make a motion. Rule 8.1 of the bylaws. Prior board of directors have created standing committees for rules and regulations, architectural, budget, roads, boundaries, and land use. The board of directors may abolish or combine existing standing committees or create additional standing committees or add HOC committees as it deems necessary and appropriate to fill the duties and responsibilities to and of Three Rivers Landowner Association. So, great thing to look at. Thank you for helping me out with this.
Okay, so we're gonna table this to the next one, or let Joe do his thing with his plan through and let it just organically, through boundaries and land use through the CR updates.
We can table it with just an answer, receiving an answer from Joe on his recommendations.
Okay. Yeah, because that makes sense, actually, if it's up to the board to either create or eliminate a committee, then it really doesn't need to go into the CCRs for membership approval. We handle that at our end, and that would just be.
The board cannot abolish the architectural committee on its own because it is embodied in the CCNRs. Only the members can abolish it by 80% yes vote.
Okay, then,
So there's
then
a-
that's the plan. I won't put it in as old business. We'll just let, we'll just let Joe's committee handle it appropriately and inform us. Everything that they do is gonna have to get approved by us at some point before it goes to the membership. So that'll be our time and effort and also through his survey and so and updates and so.
So there's a conflict between CCNRs and 8.1 of the bylaws? Joe?
Yeah, and the CCNRs trump the bylaws. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
okay.
Okay, so anything else before we move into executive? Okay, so I'll need a motion to move to conclude our. Need a motion for this. I'm gonna go into executive. I need to make a motion out and then motion back in.
Motion into executive. Executive, yep.
Okay. It's an update. I can brief you afterwards. Matter of fact, I'd like to say, when's a good time to keep it? I'll try to get you on the cell afterwards. It won't take.
Okay.
So
Are we shut down?
yeah, so shut down Zoom and then we'll come back out of it.
We have,
Include our
let's,
meeting.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we had a motion to move into it, yeah, so.
Make a motion that we move into executive